Hello everyone to the 5th Leadership Summit of iBright. Based on the theme New Horizon of the Indian Business, March towards the 100 Years of Indian Independence. I am Shifa Mansoori from the Media and Public Relations Committee. We are pleased to host Mr. Dileep Mang, India Head in the leading global development center at Siemens Netherlands. Over the last 4 years, Sir has focused on developing strategy solutions in multifunctional areas, including business leadership in the energy, power, and healthcare industry. Welcome, sir. Sir, how has been your experience with iBright so far? Can you share it with us?
Well, I think experience is always exciting because it's a constant learning. Whether it is energy or power business or healthcare business, which is a lot more closer to my heart in terms of the impact it creates. It's about solving the problems where people suffer, and healthcare provides solutions to those kind of problems. And for us, it is very satisfying to really look at the solutions that we develop. And it's a constant learning. More you learn, more you realize that the challenge is pretty tough, and we need to continue to be on our toes to really find the best solutions. My experience has been absolutely enriching.
Thank you, sir. So my first question is to you is that as you have talked about the challenges, so what are the challenges the healthcare sector is facing in terms of implementing AI with?
Your question was about the challenges that are being faced by healthcare sector in AI?
Yeah.
Okay. Look, I think let's put it in what are the challenges in healthcare sector and how AI is trying to really solve it. The challenges in healthcare sector today is threefold. One is about affordability. I think it is a big challenge because nearly 6 billion people in the world do not have access. That is nearly 80% of the people. The second is access. Access to healthcare is not there for these people. That really poses a big problem because not enough doctors, not enough expertise, not enough decision making. So that poses the second problem. The third is because there is a lack of skill, there is also a challenge of accuracy. How do you really know that you are accurately diagnosing? And with these three challenges that are being there in the entire world, and most of it is in Asia and Africa region, where we see these challenges as a big one. What is being focused by healthcare industry is to look at how do you solve this by bringing in insight, by bringing in decision making that can help clinicians reach a level of accuracy as is expected. What you miss in terms of expertise, how do you bring in that expert help to clinician? Because you still want a clinician to make the decision, but can you give him all the background? Today, just imagine a person moving from one city to another city, and there's so much of movement of people happening. And when they move to a different city, they go to a new doctor, a new hospital, and every time the new person does not know what is happening. And an average time taken by a doctor to talk to a patient in UK, I'm telling you, in UK is 3 minutes. Average time they take. In India, it is far lesser. Now, in that shorter time, how do you bring in insight about a patient's health? You need to know a patient better, as good as you need to know the disease better to make the right decision about a patient and a disease. So AI today is helping in bringing the data about the patient, bringing data about diseases together, and create insights for a clinician to make a decision early, and also make the decisions to bring in a better treatment. So AI has a big impact. This is something that you will see in the coming years even more so. People tend to ask Google, like, I have leg pain, am I okay? Right? You don't have to. I think you will have probably your own digital twin at some point of time, which will help you make a decision.
Asking that as you've talked about implementing AI in healthcare sector, so what impacts do digital skills create in the healthcare sector?
Digital twins? Okay, look, think about it as this one. A digital twin, for any purpose, we have about it. A twin is someone where you always consider twins to be very similar, or they behave in exactly the same way, right? You pinch one twin, the other twin faces the pain, right? A digital twin of a human being, in the long run, when it becomes a reality, is about creating a biophysical model of a human being. You start with a model of a heart or a model of an organ, where you simulate things in areas and create a digital twin that will help you assess or make experimentation on a digital twin before you actually experiment it on a human being. For example, if you need to do a surgery on a heart, okay, what surgery would work better? What kind of process would work better? You try it on digital twin, and what is the most optimal? You try it on the human being. So digital twin will really make a huge impact in terms of creating accurate outcomes on human beings. Are we there yet? It is going to take some time. But are we there in terms of creating the modules of digital twins of human organs? Yes, we are making a small progress in that, and we will definitely see with the data that is coming in from different sources, we will be definitely making those possibilities, and you will be able to navigate your own health looking at the digital twin on your phone at some point of time and make a decision for your good health.
My next question is to this, that what does the future of healthcare look like for populations which are not yet tech savvy?
Not yet?
Tech savvy. They're not familiar with tech.
Oh, tech savvy. Okay. Yeah, absolutely. Great point. Look, you don't have to be tech savvy to create this. And I was very impressed. About 3 years back, I was traveling in a small village. Okay. And I saw a flower seller putting Google Pay accepted here. And these are not tech savvy people. A flower seller sitting on the road, looking at Google Pay acceptable. Today, in my layout, whenever a vegetable vendor comes, they accept payment through Google Pay. Now, are they tech savvy people? No. Now, how did they become so good? One is, I think, technology was made affordable. Today's smartphone, and no one was expecting smartphone to be that popular in the beginning. Everyone thought this was going to be expensive proposition. Now, if you are able to make a smartphone, interface with the smartphone easier, these solutions are going to be acceptable and these solutions are going to be usable. It is not a question about being tech savvy, it's a question about creating user interface. I think today the focus is all coming about how do you make technology interface better for people? Can a common man, how, if you were a common man, would you address the solution that he's looking for? Is it a touch interface that will work? And those are all being thought through. And one of the biggest thing you will see in all these technology developments, while there is a AI engine sitting somewhere in the cloud and working all that, the most important focus that is being given is to user interface. How no tech savvy person or a person with zero technology understanding will be able to utilize that for an effective use. So I don't think that will be a challenge. I see the technology evolving very, very quickly. UI, UX interface is something that is going to really be something that will make technology usable to anyone and everyone.
Sir, so my last question for you is, as I've read about you that you have been very vocal about leadership and startups. So what are your suggestions for the upcoming entrepreneurs in the sector, in this particular sector, considering the changing scenario in COVID?
Well, I think I'm absolutely very passionate about startups. I'm very passionate about people to really work on healthcare. Today, there is about nearly 15 to 18% of the startups are focusing on healthcare. And healthcare is one sector where you will definitely see a great impact in the coming years. India still is spending less than 4% GDP on healthcare. The developed economies like US and all are spending nearly 17% on healthcare. So it is a sector which is going to grow. And we also talked about if economy has to grow, healthcare has to become better. And healthcare becoming better will require a lot of solution providers, a lot of people who may need a lot of impactful solutions to be rolled out. And we do see startups being nimble, startups who are innovative, startups who are risk-taking, to bring in solutions. I was very, very impressed during the COVID time. I know at least 3 startups who came up with a COVID detection algorithm within less than 3 months. So their ability exists. I think what needs for them to really access is a way to get the market. And that's where I think large company like ours will help in collaborating, combining with them to see how those solutions can be made reachable to the markets in India as well as globally. I think people need to spend more time. If you remember, genome sequencing 10 years back or 15 years back was costing millions of dollars. Today, there are so many companies in India, in less than 5,000 rupees, you get to know your genomic, especially related to healthcare. You will know everything about your health and the future and what are the risk factors. And that exists today. And I'm actually encouraging more people to come to startup on healthcare, because this is one area where they can make an impact. And this is one area there is an openness to embrace them in a larger networks like Siemens or other companies, where they can use that platform to make their products reach global markets as well.
Thank you so much for this insightful session and suggestions. And now like thanks.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
Great, nice talking to you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care. Bye-bye.